Hey there, and welcome to Prop and Roll. Today, we're going to work on some of the things that we're probably all dealing with right now, even more so because we're spending more time seated or at our computers or on our phones. So we're going to work on the postural implications of the neck, the anterior neck, and how our crouch or our caving in affects the neck, the pecs, and the forearms and the hands. And of course, we know from typing and from texting and all the stuff we're doing on our devices, we probably need a little extra of that right now. And it continues from last week's You Need Your Neck, which you can check out in the replays along with a bunch of other excellent replays in our Jivamukti library. So go ahead, and if you've got your yoga tune-up balls, or tune-up balls you may have the OG size, the original, which are like thumbs from a massage therapy point of view. One TheraBand, just the lightest tension, the least tension, very pliable, a gorgeous ball. And if you've got other tune-up balls, by all means, have them there for yourself. And blocks. And you may or may not need them depending on what size tune-up balls you have. So we're just going to start in a standing position for a moment. I'll back up and hopefully I'm still in frame, just to get a sense of the body. So standing with the feet apart, and you can close your eyes and just make sure that the skull is placed over the rib cage over the pelvis, and then release the arms. Breathe and perceive the body. Maybe notice the carriage of the arms, the shoulders, the shoulder blades. And then go ahead and find your original size yoga tune-up balls. So these are the ones that we use most often, you could say, just because a lot of people like to start with these. And if you want to disperse the tension or the intensity, you can keep them together or toted. But for this, it's going to be very helpful to use one at a time. And I'm going to stack two blocks so you can see. If you had a stool, you could also use a stool or a desk or a table. But for the sake of this in particular, it's going to be easier for me to just stack the blocks. And we're going to do like a little palm party. So this is going to work the carpal bones, the soft tissue, the thenar ligaments. And so you'll start with the right palm, press down on the ball, just dock it right in there, and cover the other palm with your left hand. Or, you can have the fingers extended or not, and just start to work your way through all the nooks and crannies. And you might feel immediate relief, especially if you have to work on a device or do a lot of emailing, making your way to dock the ball into different crevices to release tension. So using your body weight and then twisting and turning, just make sure you don't miss any part of the palm. And this is just going to activate, build heat, awaken the tissues. So if you think we're usually like this, if you're at your computer or you're holding your phone, or, maybe you have young children and you're constantly picking them up. So we're really releasing the shortening of these soft tissues. And then you can spin around. This, you can be really intuitive with your movement and go with what feels right and good. And then you can go ahead and take the soft tissue between the thumb and the index and just kind of drape it over the top of the ball. We're going to do a little contract and relax. Press down and try to pull the index and thumb together for a second. And then on an exhale, release it. And then inhale, full breath, hold a breath in, try to pull the index and thumb together, and then release it down. And then do a few more press and release. And then go ahead and switch hands. So now to the left hand, just start by pressing the weight and bearing down, docking the ball into the crevices of the palm, moving it around, leaving no part of the palm ignored. You can roll a bit, but also apply pressure and then spin. It's actually good to use and switch balls so you're breaking them in evenly. I remind myself of that. And then go ahead and take the soft tissue between the thumb and the index finger and wedge it right in. And now I'm pressing the index and the thumb towards the block. And we can do this with the breath. So take a breath in, hold the breath, contract like you're trying to squeeze the index and thumb together. And then as you release, and on an exhale, release the contraction. Do that 1 or 2 more times. And then roll, press, turn. And just a few more times, make sure you got enough release in both palms. Okay, and then set that aside. And just take a second and see if you feel heat in the hands, if you feel a little bit more fluid, a little bit more mobility for the fingers. It's quite nice. Okay, so in addition to the hands, right, in this crouched forward position, we've got muscles that tend to be overworked and then muscles that tend to be underworked. So the muscles that are overworked, we want to activate them, lengthen and release them. And the ones that are underworked, we want to activate them and strengthen them, kind of wake them up. So the first thing we'll do now is take the Courgeous ball. And if you did the first neck video, which was last week, then this will be familiar. The Courgeous ball is soft, much softer than the therapy balls. So if you don't have a Courgeous ball, use your palm to move the skin in the anterior neck. Okay, so we're going to get into this neck flesh and specifically the sternocleidomastoid, because when we're clenched forward, you can see how that muscle is going to shorten along with the host of the upper traps. So getting the grippy part of the Courgeous ball and just moving it across and up towards the earlobe. And you can get creative here too, twisting the skin around. When you're passing over the trachea in the front of the throat, don't press as hard. So lighten up on the pressure when you do that. But otherwise, you're trying to grip and squish the connective tissue and go all the way towards the earlobe and up so that we give a little lengthening and hydration to the sternocleidomastoid muscles. Since they're overactivated, we want to give first a little bit of time for them to kind of decompress. And you might feel instant relief. This is something really, like, if you have a Courgeous ball, you'll wind up doing it every day. I highly recommend. It instantly feels amazing. Okay, so we have released a little bit there. And after it, you could even have like redness here on the skin because you're literally moving, fluids and circulation around. So that'll disappear in a moment, but it's not a bad thing if that happens. Okay, now we're going to activate the neck flexors, the cervical neck flexors with the Coregeous ball. We did something similar to this on the wall last week, but this is also really nice. So you're going to tuck the ball, make sure that the pin to hold the air in is not going into your neck. You're going to tuck the ball underneath and make sure that it's touching skin so you've got good grip. And then you'll inhale, hold the breath in, and on the exhale, just lift the head up a tiny, tiny bit. Put your chin imprint into the ball. And then release down. You may need to hold the ball in place with one finger. I tend to need to do that so I can really focus on getting the strength of the cervical neck flexors rather than just trying to hold on to the ball. And take a breath in again. Hold the breath. And on exhale, lift the head just a little bit and try to push the chin into the ball. And then release. And then you may notice that there are certain muscles that are immediately starting to grip or overwork. So that's just a good thing to notice. Really what we're focusing on here is strengthening the cervical neck flexors. In our crouched position, when we're staring at a screen or staring at our phones, we aren't really using those muscles. They're becoming really slack. So here, holding the Coregeous ball, let's do one more. Take a breath. Hold a breath, and on exhale, lift your head and push the chin into the ball. And then release down. Set the Coregeous ball aside for a second and just hang for a second. Let that work integrate fully into the body. Okay, now what I'd like to shift over to is something we did for the upper traps. The upper traps, again, are going to be overused and shortened. So what we would like to do is activate them, fluff out the tissue. And reviewing this technique is really great because with practice, we actually get really good at it and very efficient. So you'll place the original size Coregeous ball. You could use the plus size or even the alpha, which are both bigger and will have a little less pressure. If this is too intense, take this move to the wall because you'll have less pressure there. But you'll start with the therapy ball right on top of the upper trap. And when we move, we're going to cross fiber. We're going to go across the grain of the muscle and towards the spine. Okay, so I'll start with the ball on the left side, so I'm facing the camera and you can see. And then you'll pocket it right in there. And if the ball is on your t-shirt, you might want to move it a little bit. I'll see what happens here. But you get better grip in terms of sloshing the connective tissue, not just rolling. So there's multiple ways that we're shearing the connective tissue in these rollouts. Not just rolling like a massage roller, but actually moving layers of fascia from superficial to deep. And then you can goalpost or cactus your arm. So if the ball is docked on the left side, then you'll cactus the left arm on the ground. Press the feet down, lift the pelvis a little bit so you get a little bit of weight burrowing into the ball. And then in the direction of the arm that's bent, you'll move the hips as you inhale, go across the upper trap, and bring the therapy ball towards the spine. Oof. First one can be a doozy. And then exhale and reset. And when you reset, there's no pressure on the ball. You're just coming back nice and light. Try that again. Press the feet, lift the hips. Inhale, move the hips towards the direction of the bent arm and see if you can lift the arm a little bit. So you're going to elevate the shoulder blade. And then exhale and bring it back and reset. And the ball might travel a little bit here and there, more so if you're on your t-shirt. So you can adjust it to where it needs to be. If you feel tingling sensation, move the ball. up, down, right, or left. That's going to have to be for you to discover, but stay away from electric tingling sensation. Lift the hips, inhale, and move the hips towards the direction of the arm. Reach the arm up and over the head and create an arc to move the ball towards the spine. And then exhale, reset. And let's do 2 more so we get, I think, 5 on both sides. Inhale, arc, go across the upper trap, reset, lift the hips, inhale, arc, reach the arm up over the head, but on the floor, and then reset. Okay. Other side. Dock the ball in the upper tricep. Let me move this out of the way so you can see, hopefully. And cactus the arm. The back of the palm should be on the ground. Don't worry if it feels awkward. Sometimes the movement has to come from just like, experimenting and figuring it out. Press the feet down, lift the hips a little bit, and then move the hips in the direction of the arm that has the ball docked. Arc the ribs a little bit and reach the arm up. So you're elevating the shoulder blade. And then reset with no pressure. So in other words, we're not trying to roll back with tension. See if you can dock the ball in there so you're not just rolling over the layer of skin, but really squishing and moving a lot of layers of connective tissue. Lift the hips, move on the inhale, reach the arm, get the therapy ball towards the outside of the spine, and then exhale and reset. I think that's 2. Let's do 3 more. Lift, inhale, cross over the upper trap to the spine, reach the arm up, and then reset. 2 more. Lift the hips a little so that you can put some weight, and you're in control of that weight. The higher you lift the hips, the more pressure and shear you'll have. So if you want a vector that's not as intense, don't lift the hips as high or go to the wall. Last one. Inhale, reach. And then reset. Okay. Take a second there. Let it integrate. If you used the original size therapy balls, keep them. If you use something bigger, go back to the original size if you've got them. Otherwise, whatever you got is good. Here I'm going to stack the blocks for height so that I don't have to crouch over the whole, exactly everything we're trying to undo right now. And I'm just going to show you on the blocks because sometimes this is intense when you do it at the wall. So you can do this on a desk. You'll take the ball and just go around the elbow, which is not so easy, right? It's not necessarily that you're going to be able to do it in one fell swoop. You're going to have to kind of wiggle it around, but just to get the muscles active. So normally when we're crouched in this position, we're caved in. These, the triceps are always overextended, underused. The biceps are shortened. So the first thing we're going to do is just roll, as best as we can to the insertion of the tricep, just to get a little activation there. And then you can go below the elbow to the forearm extensor, which might feel delicious. Now, if you can handle that tension, if you almost feel like, oh, that's a nice start, but I want something a little bit stronger, then I'm going to take the ball to the wall. And I'll start with the right side. So I'm going to place the ball right on the forearm extensor to start because I know that I need it there, but you can play around with it. Sukino Baba